Hey people, it is Sunday, April the 13th. The time is 3:40 p.m. and it's a very nice 14 degrees Celsius outside. I'm currently inside St. Lawrence Market again. That's right, I'm back. I did a walkthrough of this market and the new North Market just recently, but I wanted to come back to talk a little bit about this old facade we're looking at here. We're inside the market, but this building was once one of Toronto's several city halls over its history. This one served as Toronto City Hall from 1845 to 1899. And at one time, this building was sitting directly on the waterfront. But over the years, the waterfront was pushed further south with infill, and eventually this building was constructed, which is St. Lawrence Market, which opened, I think, in 1902 or thereabouts. And rather than demolish the old City Hall building, they preserved it and just basically built this new market building all around it. So we're looking at the south facade of the former City Hall. And we're going to head north outside, so we'll basically be walking inside of what was the old City Hall building here, which is now the entrance to St. Lawrence Market. Got a gift shop and other things to welcome you.
Definitely for chatty.
Because Lake Ontario did come right up to Front Street at one time. And there's the new North Market across the street. And you can see the outline of the facade of the old City Hall, but with the market building sort of constructed all around it, greatly enlarging the footprint of the structure of what was a much smaller building. I'll come over to the median. There you can make it out quite well, what was the old building. So I thought it would be fun to walk a bit through history as we go from one City Hall to another. There's a much more famous old City Hall at Queen and Bay, which is just referred to as Old City Hall, even though this is an older City Hall. And beside the so-called Old City Hall is the so-called New City Hall, which is turning 60 years old this year. It was opened in 1965. So even New City Hall is getting old now. So let's take a walk on this busy, very warm and sunny Sunday.
I don't want you guys to know.
As I make my way to two other city halls here in downtown Toronto. Now we're walking alongside the new North Market building. This is a nice walkway that connects Front Street with King Street. We have the Imagine Cinemas. This is a good place to catch a movie at a discounted price compared to the big Cineplex chain. You can watch first run movies here. And there's another Imagine Cinemas on Carlton Street where they screen a lot of old movies for $5. Definitely an awesome deal. So I'll take a bit of a tour, I guess you could say, as we make our way over to the other city halls. Just take in some of the action here in downtown Toronto. All right, so this is King Street. Got St. James Park across the street. And St. James Cathedral. This area is referred to as Old Town, which also takes in the St. Lawrence Market area as well. This is the part of town that was once known as the Town of York, which predates the incorporation of the City of Toronto. But I've done some recent walks along King Street, so I'm actually going to take a little bit of a detour here. There's another walkway that'll take you down to Front Street. There's a nice water feature that they haven't turned on yet. The Toronto Sculpture Garden, although there doesn't seem to be any sculptures here at the moment. And you do have this awesome look at the cathedral. So I think I'll take us to Colburn Street. I like these little walkways. They should put more stuff in them though, you know, like shops and cafes and things like that. All right, we're at Church Street. I'm gonna cross and we'll take a walk along Colburn across the way. Make sure the coast is clear. All right, I think I'm good to go. We'll get in the shade in a second out of the glare of the sun. You can hear my keys jingling in my pocket. Every little noise gets picked up by this mic I have. I mean, it's a good mic, so it should be picking up every little noise, but sometimes it's a little too good at picking up every little noise. I've always liked the street. It's narrow and has awesome old buildings and some newer buildings, such as the new Google office here. PJ O'Brien's Irish Pub. Very authentic. This is the historic King Edward Hotel. This is like the back side of it. It fronts onto King Street with a grand entrance. And back into the sun. Scott Street, looking south. But Victoria Street begins right here. So let's head north up Victoria. I'm not taking the most direct route, obviously. I'm sort of wandering a bit. It's just a nice day to wander around. And we're back to King Street. Looking into the financial district. And there's the front of the King Edward Hotel. But let's stay on Victoria Street. Kind of a neat looking alley. It's not like I haven't walked past here countless times before, but I still sometimes notice new things. Got one of the city's earlier skyscrapers here. If you call 20 stories a skyscraper, at the time it was built, it was considered a skyscraper anyway. It's the Victoria Tower. It dates back over 100 years. The 501 Queen is diverted here onto Adelaide Street due to the construction along Queen Street with a new subway line. Lots of traffic on Adelaide. Another lovely old building, and the one next door is all covered in scaffolding and tarps. It's getting a bit of a rejuvenation, I think. It's another historic building with an awesome brick facade. We'll see how it looks once they reveal it. All right, crossing Yonge Street. Kind of a busy day on Yonge Street. The nice weather definitely has something to do with that. Oftentimes downtown Yonge will be busier on the weekends than on weekdays. The Dining Coffee Company, an awesome old building. All right, let's walk along Temperance Street. I wonder when the Dining building was built. I don't see a plaque. Oftentimes these historic buildings have a plaque that gives you some information. Looks like a new thing is opening up here. Well, I can hear the bells chiming at Old City Hall. Not old City Hall, but just plain old City Hall. So we're definitely close. I wonder if this will open up again as a gathering spot. The Cloud Gardens. It was like a little outdoor patio here for office workers. And I remember way back when, bike couriers used to hang out here back in the days when bike couriers had a purpose. Not the present day bicycle delivery guys you see on the electric bikes delivering food, but bike couriers who worked in the financial district delivering documents from one building to another or one company to another, riding pedal power bikes. I think those days are mostly gone now. I don't see why bike couriers of that sort are even necessary anymore. They did a nice job in reconstructing Temperance Street here with interlocking brick. And they added a bike lane also, which you can't see right now. I'm not sure if they'll repaint the lane on here. You can see where it was anyway. And we're at Bay Street. Of course, the financial district on a Sunday is obviously going to be a bit quiet. Much going on in the office towers, but still, you know, fair amount of traffic, and there are people walking around, oftentimes using Bay Street just to get from Union Station up to the Eaton Centre or other destinations, Yonge and Dundas. It's a nice alternate to walking along Yonge Street, which can be kind of crowded at times with the sidewalks. Bay Street here is crowded at rush hours, mostly Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And there is old City Hall with the clock tower, but I'm not going to walk directly there. I'm going to take a bit of another little detour here. We'll continue along narrow, dark Temperance Street.
It's very, very. They're like, I think they're the biggest ones.
Strange noises coming from down there. Oops. Kicking random pieces of metal on the ground. There's another intriguing alleyway. I would walk down there, but I just saw a guy sitting there on his phone. Looked like he was on his break. Figured I'll just leave him be. I think he works at one of the convenience stores that are in that building facing Bay Street. That's the thing about Toronto. Even the most secluded looking spot will often have at least one person hanging out in there. There's just so many people in the city that it's hard to really get away from them. If that's what you're trying to do, you have to go out into the surrounding area, maybe someplace like Rouge Park or something. Even then you're bound to run into somebody. To readjust my keys again. I'm just dying to start jingling around. All right, we're on Richmond Street. graphic arts building on this side. At the awesome Victory Building, another early skyscraper. I'll walk on the outside of the scaffolding. And there's the Bay Street side of the Hudson's Bay building. It's still open. One of only 6 Hudson's Bay stores that remained open after the recent troubles that have plagued the company. And the Saks store also is open at the other end, down by Yonge Street. I did a complete walkthrough of the Hudson's Bay store recently, and then a bit later I walked through the Saks store and a bit more of the Bay store again. It's an enormous building, as you can see. It takes up an entire block going all the way down to Yonge. Cross to the other side while the light is still green. It's the Sterling Tower, another historic skyscraper. Toronto actually had a pretty impressive skyline over 100 years ago. These awesome old masonry buildings of the time. All right, so we've come upon Old City Hall now. Not as old as old City Hall. This one opened in 1899, replacing the previous City Hall we started the walk at. And it's vastly more impressive, as you can see. I think it's really leveled Toronto up as far as cities go. It's like this clock tower is actually taller than the Elizabeth Tower, which houses Big Ben in London. It's a surprising fact. It's taller than the Peace Tower in Ottawa also. So this served as City Hall until 1965. When so-called New City Hall opened, which is about to become a senior citizen itself now at 60 years old. Some gargoyles there, you can see. This has housed courtrooms since it ceased to be used as a city hall building. But a new courthouse building recently opened just over there beside New City Hall. So now the future of that old City Hall is uncertain. Obviously it's a protected building, it's not going anywhere, but I don't think it's quite certain what's going to be done with it. There's been talk of turning it into a museum of the city of Toronto, which would be, I think, a great use for it. So hopefully something like that happens. But that brings us to the final stop on our little Sunday walkabout. And I was hoping these stairs would be opened so we could go up onto the elevated walkway, but no such luck. No winter maintenance. Okay, well, winter is over now. But here we are. New City Hall, celebrating 60 years. I think September 13th is the official date of its opening back in 1965. So maybe on that day I'll come and do a happy birthday video for Toronto City Hall. It's an iconic building. This has been featured in a bunch of movies and TV shows over the years, usually standing in as some sort of futuristic structure in a science fiction show or movie. There's lots of people today. Oops, sorry. Someone was backing up to take a photo and backed right up into me. Lots of camera people around here today. I think I'm the only one with a DJI Pocket 3 though. And the iconic Toronto sign. I think we're in for a strong tourist season this year. I just have a hunch that a lot of Americans will make their way to the city this year to support Canada and to take advantage of the very favorable exchange rate between the US and Canadian dollars. Financial district looking that way. But I think I'm going to wrap it up here at not so new City Hall. Hope you enjoyed the little walk from one City Hall to the next, starting at old City Hall, I guess you could say, at St. Lawrence Market. Kind of taking a winding route through downtown. Check out City Hall number 2 over there. And this brutalist beauty here. Some people don't like it, but I think it's definitely a unique, one-of-a-kind building. So let me know your thoughts down below, and be sure to like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already done so, and also be sure to hit that notification bell. That way you won't miss any of my videos, and if you'd like to support the channel, there are links in the description where you can do so via PayPal, as well as via my merch store. Or you can also support the channel by becoming a channel member, or by sending a super thanks if you prefer. And you can find me on Instagram also under KContinuum. So thanks for watching, and thanks to all the channel members, and be sure to keep checking back, because as always, I will continue.